Well, good afternoon to the listeners of DBS Radio, and good afternoon to the listeners of DBS Radio far and wide. We are now at the Douglas Charles Airport, the April 22nd, and we actually today's the 22nd.
No, Cecil. Today's the 20th.
I'm just playing with you.
Today's the 28th.
Today's the 28th. I expect you to correct me.
It's Thursday, the 28th.
Thursday the 28th. Mm-hmm. and so we are here waiting for the arrival of the Honourable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, a formidable leader in the Commonwealth of Dominica. I'm sure for the accolades that he has received, Kewana, that he will go down into the history books of Dominica in terms of really creating an impact, not only on Dominicans and in Dominica, but also in the region and the international world.
Okay, thank you, Cecil. A special good afternoon to everyone tuned into DBS Radio at this time. As Cecil rightly said, we are at the Douglas Charles Airport in Marigot, and we are here to bring you a ceremony to welcome the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, as he received the Jose Marti Award in Cuba. We also have Mr. Curtis Matthew on our broadcast team. Mr. Matthew, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Kewana Fontaine, and good afternoon to you, Cecile. More importantly, good afternoon to the whole of Dominica and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. We're here at the Douglas Charles Airport for a very important occasion.
And yes, a very important occasion for a very important individual, and that is the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica. We know that Roosevelt Skerrit has been Prime Minister from 2004 and has been Parliament representative for the Vickers constituency. First thing, Curtis, that we have to always remember that the Honourable Prime Minister, to first become Prime Minister, he has to be elected by people, and the people of the Vickers constituency from since 2000 have been electing the Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, and so I'm sure that today will be a great day for the people of the Vickers constituency.
In fact, he has changed the political landscape in Vickers. Ever since he was elected, it has been no turning back for the Prime Minister. He has been dominant politically in the Vickers constituency.
Yes, indeed. I am very pleased to be here this afternoon. A very rainy afternoon, gentlemen. But I don't think that will affect our ceremony here this afternoon. But just to give the people a little background on the Jose Marti Prize, it serves to promote and reward an activity of outstanding merit in accordance with the ideals and spirit of, as I was saying, that's right, the Jose Marti Award is named after a poet and the man who once led the Cuban independence, a thinker and a poet.
Well,
Jose Marti.
He's not only a poet, Jose Marti, as we all will know, or most of us would have known, that he is a nationalist. As you said, right, he said a poet, also a philosopher, and he also loves writing essays. And so I consider him to be an essayist, and that also of a translator. He's a professor and a publisher who has been a national hero in Cuba for many, many years. And because of his role that he has played in terms of the liberation of Cuba from Spain, that today the people in Cuba are very much proud of this individual. As a matter of fact, there are monuments in various parts of Cuba highlighting Jose Marti.
Very few leaders would have received that prestigious award, and to have received it, it's a remarkable piece of achievement for any leader in the Caribbean to achieve and to receive that sort of award.
Definitely, the former president of South Africa, Mr. Matthew, and Cecil Joseph, Nelson Mandela, received that award in 1991. And the former Venezuelan president, Hugo Chavez, also received this award in 1999.
And we would know that in reference to the man, Nelson Mandela, he is an internationally acclaimed name. And for the first of all, talking about the ANC in South Africa, where he as an individual stood up for the people of South Africa, took jail for some 27 years. And then when he was released, within a year, the president of South Africa for many years, and he stood down after, I think, serving 2 terms as president of South Africa. And then Hugo Chavez, we know of the work that Hugo Chavez did with not only Dominica but in the entire region. And even while working in the region, we will all remember the projects that himself and Roosevelt Skerrit have actually worked together, and that is in creating the ALBA. And so Roosevelt Skerrit today is in good how would I say it? Company. He's in good company to that of the man Nelson Mandela and that of Hugo Chavez.
Definitely. So we are here to bring you the reception for the Prime Minister, Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, a recipient of the Order of Jose Marti from the Republic of Cuba, and that is the reason why we are here at Douglas Charles Airport. If I can give you an idea of what the program looks like, there will be a receiving line of government officials at the airport. Then we will see the arrival at Douglas Charles Airport VIP lounge. You will go into the lounge. There'll be a media briefing and remarks, of course, by the Honourable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, and of course the address by the Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister. There will be an opportunity for the media to ask questions, and of course we will receive answers. And that will come to the end of the reception.
And then, Curtis, I think it is of importance to highlight the fact that Roosevelt Skerrit has been one of the advocates whenever he goes to the United Nations to speak to the United Nations representatives, to inform them of the embargo and to remove the embargo on Cuba. So Roosevelt Skerrit has been lamenting that point for many years that he has been Prime Minister to ensure that the United States removed the embargo. We all must say that in reference to Dominica actually built this relationship with Cuba way back in 1997. But prior to 1997, we would know that one of our prime ministers, in the person of former, who's now passed, Roosevelt Douglas, started the process in 1979 after Hurricane David, when he went to the non-aligned movement meeting in Guyana to make a case for Dominica, even while he was not part and parcel of government, and we were able to get scholarships. And since then, we have seen the Cuban government and the Cuban people working with Dominica, and for all of these years, for some 42 years, we have seen the Cubans, or the Cuban government, actually working alongside with our beautiful country, Dominica.
In many areas, that's health. We've provided nurses and doctors during the COVID-19 pandemic. During the onset of COVID-19, we had a number of Cuban doctors, medical practitioners, and certainly the Cubans have done a lot for Dominica in that regard. As you said, in the area of education, health, agriculture, and so on. The Cubans have assisted Dominica in a number of areas.
Oh, definitely. We heard the president of Cuba in the ceremony this week, reaffirming his willingness to maintain a high level of political dialogue, and he thanked Dominica and CARICOM for their worthy and courageous position towards their country.
K1 and Cecile, we also have to remind the listeners, while we are broadcasting, it's raining.
It's pouring.
And the weather is bad. It's really bad weather. Not as bad as you have a hurricane or something, but it's bad weather in Marigot at the moment. But we are happy to be here.
Yes, definitely. Media is well poised. So you can see the GIS cameras direct right here under the rain. Well, he's holding up his umbrella to protect his equipment. But we are ready, and we await the arrival of the Prime Minister.
And we know that the Honourable Prime Minister at the Plaza de la Revolution in Havana, Cuba, addressed the occasion, and he said that I greet you today as a brother in human family, a brother of the Caribbean family, and a brother in the struggle for dignity for all people, particularly for and the oppressed. I greet you as a brother of Cuba. Honor me, but today I celebrate you and salute you, all of the people of Cuba, not because you have chosen to bestow this honor on me, but for your vision, for your example, for perseverance, and for your accomplishment. These were some of the words that the Prime Minister actually used at the time that he received this award from the Cuban people.
So this is what I'm hoping words by the Prime Minister who accepted the award on behalf of the people of Dominica. And he wanted to see what a day it is expected to. Later today, by the way, there is going to be a political sort of stadium to welcome the Prime Minister.
And that is true, Curtis. On May 25 in 1955, we realized that the Dominican Labour Party themselves, as they said, they stood for the ordinary people. And presently, the government of this day, headed by Roosevelt Skerrit, we have seen the issues of housing been dealt with. Also the issues of agriculture. Right now, as we speak, the Minister of Agriculture is also with the Prime Minister coming in as part of the delegation. And in Cuba, that they went and actually discussed issues in reference to agriculture. So we have seen agriculture, we have seen housing, we have seen the green economy. We have seen a changing environment for Dominica in terms of leadership and in terms of really as a that we can see the kind of progress that we have been looking for.
Education, by the way, is one of the areas that he has focused on, as the Prime Minister of Dominica has focused on tremendously. Several hundreds of Dominican students are out there studying, compliments the government and people of Dominica.
But
that's an area he has embarked on.
But that is so serious in what you have just said, Curtis. I remember, and you will remember, Curtis, that when we went to school, just one scholarship that was actually given to the entire nation. One scholarship. And today that we have had hundreds of students all over the world, where the government of Dominica actually assisting in some ways and some other ways as full scholarships. And that says quite a lot in terms of building the capacity that's required and empowering our people. And what is good about this is in the past, we found out that in the past, that when these people went on study, they would have Curtis, they would have had to be bonded. And today, that is not an issue. Today, young people have gotten the opportunity to go out there and study and not been bonded. And that is for me very critical in terms of giving the kind of empowerment that young people require. Because not all of these people who are out there are able to come back home and to give the kind of service that they can give. But for sure, they'll remember their families, their loved ones, and in their jobs, I'm sure that they'll be able to send some things back home for us as a people.
The Prime Minister of Dominica said many years ago he wanted to make a difference in education. He served as a lecturer at the Dominica State College, a former education minister. So it's no surprise that the Prime Minister decided he wanted to make a difference in education as a result. And he has embarked on many initiatives here in Dominica to assist in the education sector.
And as you talk about education sector, Curtis, we know that at the Dominica State College many years ago, that less than 1%, or just about 1% of the students would have gone to secondary school, would have gotten the opportunity to go to a state college. And today, the state college is actually open for over 2,000 young people. And that is, for me, is incredible in reference to about empowerment. Times that I think we look at the infrastructure and not looking at the empowerment of the people.
I know the Prime Minister have spoken on the issue of education and the role that Cuba has played in making that possible. And I remember him saying that if it were not for that relationship that Dominica has enjoyed with Cuba over these years, you see our doctors, who have gone to study would not have been given that opportunity to study medicine or even become doctors in that field.
In case you are joining DBS just at this minute, or you tuned onto the radio just around 2 minutes ago, you're hearing the voices of Cecile, Kiwana, and me, Curtis, and you're wondering what is going on. We're here at the Douglas Charles Airport to bring you live coverage of the arrival of Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit having received a major award in Cuba. We're getting some new information from one of the people at the Prime Minister's office. She's communicating with Cecile now. So maybe she may want to tell us something on air, maybe not. Right, so Cecile has that breaking news, I suspect.
I don't want to call it breaking news. I don't want to call it breaking news. I know you're a real journalist, A journalist is about want to get information. It's about breaking news, but it's information. And I think what we'll do is, in a little while, we're going to go back across to Marti control. We will come back when everything. As we always do, Curtis Matthew. We always ensure that we give a situational report. It's done. I guarantee you that when everything is almost ready, we'll get back across to master control and come back live. Douglas Charles.
So,
Are we?
so we're getting, so the information you've given us is that anytime soon we should go back to the to master control.
But we can still give some information if we so require. I mean, we have spoken quite a lot of what Roosevelt Skerrit has been doing, and we have not spoken about infrastructure. The airport where we are today, once upon a time that the airport did not have night landing, and the Venezuelan government and that of the Cuban government did assist us in the infrastructure of the airport at this present time, and we are seeing a total different airport that we actually would have witnessed about 25 years ago, and that again complements the Venezuelan government and that of the Cuban government.
Yes, certainly before Hurricane Maria in 2017, a lot of work has been done to rehabilitate, to transform this facility. A lot of work, and as you mentioned, the Venezuelans are an integral part of that sort of development here at the Douglas Charles Airport, really transformed over the last few years.
And Chavez has been one of the recipients of that Jose Marti award, so it's so very relevant, you know. And as we speak, Curtis, quite a number of things come into mind. Housing, the Prime Minister has indicated and his government has indicated that some 5,000 houses will be constructed for families, for loved ones who are destitute, if I could say, who do not have a home to stay, most persons. And so we have seen just about over 1,500 houses already been constructed and people actually residing. That is clear evidence of a government already. As we know, there are three stratas that I look at in reference to people's development. One is shelter, two is food, and three is security.
All right. Once again, we are here just to bring you this reception. And Cecil and Curtis, I would like to say, people may be wondering, you know, why are we here? I think it's more about how proud Dominica should be, because Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is the first leader in the Eastern Caribbean to be honored with such a prestigious award. So I mean, that is why we're here this afternoon, so we can be part of this proud moment here, and hopefully we will soon see the plane landing and the Prime Minister, we will say welcome to the Prime Minister and show how appreciative we are of this award.
The last time that we were here, Curtis, was on the 8th of December when the inaugural flight of American Airlines actually landed here in Dominica. And we have since then seen from this month, April, that they are from one day in a week to now every day in the week in the month of April. So that's a great improvement in terms of the kind of infrastructure that we were looking for as a people. Now that you can be in Miami, and if you choose to come to Dominica on the weekend, you are so welcome.
But because it was Cecil, speaking of the inaugural flight, I was told that the Prime Minister will be coming in on AA, on
yes,
the American Airlines flight?
Airline, yes.
Okay.
As you're saying, now we've seen the Prime Minister's wife passing,
yes,
and
Mrs.
also
Skerrit.
that of the Minister of Tourism. That must be proud moment for the both of them, you know.
Yes, definitely.
As Minister of Tourism, you know, they're using the American airline, and you see the number of persons that will be coming in, and also the Prime Minister wife, who is part and parcel of the life of the Honourable Prime Minister.
That's right.
So I can imagine the number of things that have been discussed when they're at home to ensure that Dominica gets the kind of representation that it's required. His wife is the parliamentary representative for Roseau Central.
We have seen a number of the ministers here, if not all. It was open to all ministers. I saw the Attorney General, by the way, Levi Peter. I saw the Senior Minister, Austri,
Minister of
Health and Tourism. So
Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah, so many, if not all, the government ministers would have been here for this event.
And we know that there's a delegation of ministers with him also on that flight coming into Dominica, just to witness just a day ago in he receiving that award in Cuba. Curtis, have you ever been to Cuba?
No, I've not. And one thing we have to say, K1 and Cecil, is that we're waiting a flight, but of course things can change and change all the time with these flights. Many times I have been here for flights at a particular time. Sometimes they don't happen at the time they're supposed to be arriving. So these are things that of course we have to expect. We may be waiting for a 1:30 flight that may be delayed. So these are things that we have to anticipate.
And so I think it would be a good time that we can maybe go across to Master Control and maybe just when everything is almost ready, we give a situation report. From what I'm getting from our directors in terms of we are live streaming, and so we are on Facebook, and he wants us to continue, and he's giving us some kind of level.
I think he's suggesting that we can take the break now, and to return back here at the Douglas Charles
So we
Airport.
just want to say to our Facebook and YouTube followers that we will be back.
Stay with us, by the way.
Stay with us, the nation station DBS Radio, best in information.
We'll be back. As
we are saying this before we say we'll be back, I want people to note that at DBS Radio, we are not only about just audio, we are also about video. So if you need us to any function of yours that you want us to be part of, you can invite us. We will be there with the best in quality and best in programming, best in the kind of programs that you would require from us. And if you have your funerals, you can also invite us for your funerals. Whatever you have, you just make it your duty to invite the DBS Radio, and I can guarantee you that the service will be at its best.
Okay, one of these songs like a transformed DBS Radio. These services that DBS now provides. 10, 15 years ago, maybe you didn't have the services. Or if you had the services, they are now improved tremendously. So as we talk about services, our friend Dennis, he is the mastermind behind a lot of these improvements. He does not want to believe that, but obviously DBS in 2022 going places.
But we all know Dennis.
I think Dion also understands that, and Dion is approving this.
Definitely. I'm happy to see direction in which DBS is headed. This is a world of technology. As technology improves, we too have to improve. So I'm definitely in support of the way or the direction that DBS is headed to right now.
I'm very happy, to give support to the statements, and thank you to the board of directors who themselves have actually approved of those things that we're actually doing, because it's of importance to note that we have a young society. Too long that we are saying that DBS is making availability to us, to the elder folks, the persons with the monies, but we have to now make provision for the young boy who has started life, the young child who just came on earth, because we know that in the next 5-10 years that child will be looking at DBS Radio as a place that they too can be employed. So DBS Radio, we are actually going the extra mile just to ensure that we are relevant, and that's what's of great importance. And as we're standing here, I'm hearing the horns.
I was about to say that there seems to be a team on the outside with the Lapu Cab with band and so on. We can hear some noises from where we are, and one expects that some people will come here in this celebratory mood.
And it was strange, when I was getting, I shouldn't say strange, but while coming to Marigot, I don't know if you all saw it, but saw a few people with their red umbrella, their red shirts, and their red pants. So one guy with his red, all in red, I'm walking through the streets of Marigot. And so it won't be surprising that the people of the northeast would find themselves in the airport, like we saw a few years ago when the Prime Minister was given the doctorate letters of words. Just about, I think, 2018, 2019. 2018.
And you also received another one in 2016.
2016, the first one I think he received in Pennsylvania, and the second one he received in India. And so I know the people will gather here. The first one, we saw it at the Canefield Airport, and we saw the mass crowd that was there. The other one here, the greater crowd. Yeah. And today, there's two events, as Kewan rightly said. One will be here. That will be of government officials, and the other one will be at the stadium, at the forecourt of the stadium, where the Dominican Labour Party, the party that Roosevelt Skerrit is the leader of, the party that has been in existence from since May 25, 1955.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one would not expect the crowds to come down here, given the weather, Curtis and Cecil. But we are hearing the drums and the horns.
I'm surprised you're saying that.
I'm saying,
if you follow politics.
I'm saying that to say it's indeed a proud moment. So they will come down in the numbers to support.
That's the point. Yes. If you follow politics, rain, thunder, lightning does not prevent fanatics of politics not to follow. And so the Dominican Labour Party has a huge following, and by virtue of the leadership of which Roosevelt Skerrit has been able to bring to them, they're very proud. And so they will be here to show their support to Roosevelt Skerrit and to tell him that they too appreciate the things that he has actually been doing. So I won't be surprised that you'll have a huge crowd here from the people, more so from the Northeast, who might not be able to go to Roseau, so they might come here to give their support to Roosevelt Skerrit.
Yes, so at this point we can now take a break from live streaming, and we will be right back as soon as we have more information and closer to the arrival of the Honourable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit.
So we go across to Kimara Ito, who is now in Studio 1.
And quality live streaming services for all your funerals, special occasions, and events. Contact us today at 448-3282 or 448-3283 or email us at dbsradio@cwdom.dm. DBS Radio, your new era in broadcasting. Contact us today. DBS Radio now brings to you professional and quality live streaming services for all your funerals, special occasions, and events. Contact us today at 448-3282 or 448-3283 or email us at dbsradio@cwdom.dm. DBS Radio, your new era in broadcasting. Contact us today.